Ladies and gentlemen, we're back once again with the Against the Fence podcast. I'm doing the hosting this time. It's me, Red Wolf, with the boy Breezy. How we doing, man?
Yeah, good. I like this dynamic. It's nice for me.
First time me taking the lead, and usually if it's anything like me dancing, it's going to go off course very, very quickly. But
that's what I'm here for.
well, you little two steps. We'll have a few drinks first, then we'll get to dancing. You know what I mean? We'll record that in London next month.
That'll be good.
Oh man, but yeah, man, bit of a mad week in the old MMA world. The old social media been blowing up a bit. Kind of quiet, to be honest. So,
first half of the week was very quiet. There was nothing going on, and then I'm sure you'll bring us onto it. But Dana suddenly popped up and gave us quite a bit to talk about. So,
yeah, he just dropped the bomb on us. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, it's getting a bit too quiet for these boys. Here you go. Let's just drop a nuke on them. I mean, it's just unreal. All the UK guys trying to get an early night, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to drop it in a minute. And then a minute turned into an hour, and then it turned into 2 hours, and then before you knew it, it was 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, and you're still going, Dana, where is it, man? Come on.
Yeah, I was not staying up for that.
No, I did stay up for it. And was very tired the next morning. But yeah, we'll talk about those bombshell announcements in a bit. But so last weekend we had our first Apex card of the year. Jared Cannonier versus RoboCop.
Yes,
that was. I mean, I've got to admit, I was rooting for RoboCop, but Cannonier just said, "Nah, age ain't nothing but a number." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I knew the way it was going to go already, and it went how I expected. With the people that Cannonier's fought and how long he's been doing it, I wasn't surprised. It did possibly go on for longer than I thought it was going to. That's the only thing, maybe. That did surprise me because RoboCop's gas tank is terrible for that level.
Yeah, and he went all out in the first. You could see. I mean, he dropped Jared twice in the first, and I thought it was going to be over then, and he just blew his load a bit too early.
Yeah, all of RoboCop's punches are quite loopy, like punches, which I feel like are quite easy. Like once Damon was, I think it's Damon Black shit. What the once Jared Cannonier had kind of got the reads in, it was he could tell where they were coming from, and then RoboCop slowed down. So
yeah, it got a lot easier for him. I mean, I love Jared Cannonier. You know, I mean, like I say, he's a top guy. He's been in there with some absolute killers. I mean, the guy's nearly 40, or he is 40 as well. So I love it when the old dogs come and show how the young ones how it's done. I always love that because surprisingly, something that was very surprising to find out is RoboCop's younger than me. Like, how? That what the fuck? I had
to try to keep that down then. Jesus, wow.
The man looks 50. Remember that scene in Bad Boys? Motherfucker, you look 30, right? RoboCop is like, motherfucker, you look 50. Because honestly, man, he's got to be the oldest 32-year-old I've ever seen.
And he's huge.
Oh, he's massive. He is massive.
He's an absolute monster. Like when I seen them two first kind of up against each other after the weigh-ins and stuff. Even at the weigh-ins, who's the height, and then Cannonier was like this, like he is a big scary man.
Yeah, I mean, I met him in Manchester, for 304. Nicest guy, really nice guy, proper gentleman type. And I was like, what the fuck? He's well taller than I thought he would be. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think he's like, might be 6'4", 6'3", something like. But he's built as well. He's fucking wide with it. But yeah, the MMA Obama. That's what I used to.
What?
Obama? You don't think he looks like Barack Obama?
No, I've never made that comparison before.
Really? And it's not just me. I've seen other people saying that as well.
I might have to, I'm gonna have to get pictures up next to each other later.
But yeah, you know, I've got to admit, you know, people usually play down the Apex cards, but that wasn't a bad one. It was pretty good.
I'll tell you what else was really good about it. It was like the quickest main card ever, so we could just get to bed. I think it was like 2.5 hours or 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. Like I jumped on the watch along, and usually they go on to like 3 o'clock or whatever, and I was like, I'm in bed. This is great.
Yeah, yeah. Main card started at midnight for us, and that's early. We were being like, hey, that's brilliant.
Keep the Apex cards coming if they're starting at that time and they're that quick.
Because I say, I mean, they are going to the Apex less and less. I've noticed. So Dana did say that was going to happen, and it is happening. It is happening. But
yeah,
me and you spoke before about this. Like, I'd love to go to an Apex card. You know, just for that experience, that intimate. You know, right there and you know, right in front of the cage type of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list. I'd like to do it in like, I don't know how long they're going to go on for, but in the next 2 to 3 years, I think it'd be realistic. But yeah. Imagine just a few days in Vegas, nice hot weather, and then just end the week with the Apex cards. Notoriously, they're not the best cards going, but
no,
you're so close, and it's almost a personal interaction because you can hear the coaches talking, and you listen to what they're saying to the fighters, and like you said, intimate. And I love the idea of just being able to experience that just one time.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember when the Apex started, you know, it was because of all the COVID shit, and then they had Fight Island where there was no crowds, and honestly, like some of those fights, I mean, we had Dan Hooker and Dustin Poirier, one of the best fights of all time, with no crowds, and you could hear every punch land. It was just beautiful violence.
Yeah, and that's not something I've really experienced yet. I might get some of it at London with where I'm sat, but
to
actually, just hear the slaps and the cracks and
yeah. I mean, when I was at 304 and I was pretty close, and there was time you could hear cracks. And I say another thing I never noticed is that, you know, when they land a takedown, it booms like it really like you hear it on the telly, and it just sounds like you've just tripped over your table or something. But in the arena, it's like boom, and you're like fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Vegas is definitely on the bucket list. I mean, I'd love to do like, you know, International Fight Week events. I'd have to sell every fucking organ in my body though to afford that one. But that would be amazing.
Yeah, every year, because the Dubai card is usually on the same week as my birthday. So every year I say that I'm going to go to it, and I haven't yet. But we'll definitely do it because they're always incredible, like absolutely incredible cards that they do in Dubai. Obviously, went there at the end of last year, and it's such an incredible place. And to do that with watching the UFC would be so cool.
Oh, mate, 100%. I mean, I've never been myself. I'm not very travelled. I've got to admit. Like, I've been to Canada once in the whole life, and the furthest travelling I get is to the edge of Salford and Manchester. That's about it. I'll go to Liverpool sometimes, maybe once every couple of months, and that's right back home now. Come on. So I do need to get.
If we get El Matador main eventing in Spain, I'll be there, and I hope you would too.
I will try to make that trip, definitely. Do you know what I mean? That would be a good one.
It'd be absolutely incredible.
Oh, mate, I wonder who. Well, that was actually one of the announcements this week with Dana, wasn't it? That Ilia's vacating the featherweight title, which I thought was quite funny, considering the same week he was singing "Happy Birthday" to his belt. You know, like one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. But and then abandons it at the side of the road, like a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. He's an oddball, but he's incredible at the same time. It's a bit of a. who does he? He kind of reminds me a little bit for me of Ian Gary, where like he's such an incredible fighter, and you can't really deny his skill set.
Yeah.
Like ever since Sanitizer Head, ever since then I've just been like, this guy's an idiot. So thanks, Paddy. But yeah, to sing Happy Birthday to your belt, and treat it like it's your childhood teddy bear, then just
relinquish it. Yeah, I mean, even the cake for it and everything with candles. I mean, it was just so weird, like, you know. And then 2 days later, Dana's like, yeah, he's got rid of it now. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I see why people like him, but man's knocked out two of my favourite legends of all time, and I'm not happy about it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
slightly salty.
I mean, I shed tears when he did that to Max, and I still can't get over it. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I get it. You know, Dana said something about he can't, his body won't let him make the weights of featherweight now, and it's like, okay, fair enough, you know. But he also, in the same breath, said, you know, he's done all he can in the division and he's cemented his legacy, and I have to disagree with that. He hasn't done all he can in the division. Do you know what I mean?
No, he's definitely not. I would have liked to have seen him fight who's got the title fight, Diego Lopez. I think because that would have been. I think realistically that was the next fight, and I think I think it's a fun one. I don't know if Lopez would have beat him, but I would have. I think everyone would have enjoyed the fight itself. And I don't. Oh, does he beat Islam Makhachev? That's the question, isn't it?
I think a few people have been talking about that, you know, saying, oh, Ilia can do this, Ilia can do that. But you look at the Bryce Mitchell fight. Now, Bryce is a decent grappler, some absolute outlandish views, but he took him down a few times, do you know what I mean, as well? And he seems to have, he didn't have his way with him, but he did well against him on the ground. And you look at someone like Makhachev, who is probably the most elite grappler we've got in the UFC now. Be a long night for him.
Yeah, and I always go back to the Jai Herbert fight. Because it shows vulnerability. And Jai Herbert, I mean, he's had a rough go in the UFC, and I think that's why he's still here, because he has fought the people that the who's who.
Yeah.
And look at where most of those are now. But he caught him, and fair enough. Ilia come back and absolutely folded him, but it does show that he's vulnerable. I just don't. It's such a tough one. It's such a tough one because we haven't really seen Ilia's ground game in the UFC, and I think that's gonna be very interesting because it's supposedly incredible. Is he supposed to be really good on the
It
ground?
is. I mean, I watched his fights in Cage Warriors, and he was fucking amazing on the ground. Do you know what I mean? He had omoplata wings and all this kind of like slick shit. But like you say, when he's been in the UFC, you've not really seen it because you didn't need to see it, because, like you say, he was folding people and he was putting them out cold. You know what I mean? So it's definitely Ilia versus Islam. I think will have to happen, but and I think Dana's pretty much saying there may be someone else. He may have to fight a lightweight contender before he gets that fight.
Yeah, which I think is fair enough. I think another thing is he's quite small. He's quite small facing the people he's facing already. I mean, he's stocky, yes. I give you that. But to move up to welterweight? Lightweight, sorry. What am I?
Yeah.
To move up to lightweight at his height.
Yeah.
Will be interesting to see how he manages it, because we kind of saw it with Alexander Topuria, his brother, earlier in the week, who was fighting someone a bit longer than he is. He was very, very good at kind of waiting, getting the reads, and then coming in and just and the power is scary.
Suplexing people, man. That was impressive.
Yeah. So I expect we've seen probably a little bit of a glimpse into how Ilia will fight up at lightweight. Yeah,
I think I agree with that. And like you say, I mean, it looks like his brother's staying at featherweight, so I mean, it opens the door. So his brother's a bantamweight, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's his big,
which
but he's small. He's lighter than him.
he's tiny. Yeah, he's tiny. He was literally a midget. I mean, I wouldn't tell him that to his face. I wouldn't go, "You're a midget." I think he'd kill me. But
there's a few midgets I would say that to their face, but that's not one of them. Do you know what
I mean? Yeah, I'm very excited to see how they both do going forwards.
Yeah. And then with Ilia moving to lightweight, it's brought Volk back into the title contention. Like I say, we've got Volk versus Lopez now, and
Which is a great fight. I love that fight.
Great.
I think Volk will. I hesitate to say it because I think initially Volk will now be champ for a few years. The only thing that makes me question that. I don't know where I was going with that. I've lost it. 2 secs. It's all right. We can edit this bit out. I want to see what happens with Pitbull.
Yeah. I mean, that was another bombshell announcement that in the week was kind of teased, and then other people were saying it was, and then other people were copying and pasting and putting their bit on, and then people were retracting statements, and it was like fucking heads thing type shit. Do you know what I mean? And then Dana just goes, "Oh yeah, we have got him." I mean, there's a lot of stuff behind a lot of stuff behind the scenes going on. Apparently, it wasn't a done deal. It was something that Pitbull was thinking about or talks with, and then a couple of days before the announcement, he gets signed. But yeah, that's a big shake-up, and to come in and fight someone like Yair Rodriguez as well, who's in the top 5, the featherweights. Going to be very interesting, that one, because if he wins that, you've got a new contender from a totally different organisation coming in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've always had that question, like promotion versus promotion, kind of who would be better. And the UFC have done very well, very, very well out of signing Bellator fighters recently.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Chandler, top name in the UFC, incredibly entertaining in the fights. I'm not massive on him outside of it, but hey ho.
Yeah.
MVP.
One of my favourite fighters. Even in Bellator, mate. If he was on the card, I was tuning in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So another one enters the fray, and let's see where he ends up, because it is good to see.
It's exciting. It's really exciting. Like you say, but just going back to what you said about MVP, man, I wanted him in the UFC for years. Do you know, like I always used to dream about what would him and Stephen Thompson be like? What would he be like against someone like, in the top 5 rankings of the UFC? And then when we got him, I mean, he's 37 now, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we've got him too late," and this, that, and the other. But I don't think so. Not when he's taking zeros from Shard Bullet, and he's still putting on entertaining fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's the perfect time for the featherweight division, because with Ilia leaving, although yes, Ilia could have started to go through the rounds, kind of like what Volk had already done. And it probably would have been similar, where Ilia was starching everybody. Volk didn't really starch everybody, but you know what I mean.
No, dominated them at least.
Yeah, having Pitbull come into this, I think, just adds a completely new dynamic, because everyone else is kind of, until you get to Arnold Allen, who obviously had a rough fight against Max Holloway. Unless they give him a viable other option, it's going to be hard for him to progress past Max. The only person really, when I look at it, who I think is like a new, fresh person, obviously Diego Lopez, he's got his fight. We'll see how that goes. Beyond that is Lerone Murphy. Yeah.
Well, Lerone, you know what I mean? Miracle from Manchester, my manny boy. He's got his main event against Josh Emmett. He's been calling for that fight for such a lot, and that is a mega fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be his toughest test. He's even said that. He said it's going to be his toughest test, and he's ready for it. And scary fight.
It's one of them fights that makes me. I will have no nails left by the end of it.
Yeah.
I might have no fingers either. I might have gone the whole way down.
Do you know what it reminds me of? This was like when Tom Aspinall fought Pavlovich. I was exactly like that. I was like, oh, I was shitting it all week. Do you know what I mean? But look how that one turned out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing with Josh Emmett is, I had Cody Gibson on the podcast. So when I spoke to him, he said that his ground game is absolutely incredible. Like Josh Emmett's an incredible wrestler. But because he's got this God-given gift of just being able to knock everyone the fuck out, like he's that powerful. He's not really had to show it. And that scares the hell out of me. The fact that a man can flatline people at that weight class like he does. Yeah. And it's always a threat for the full 15 minutes. It's gonna be a threat.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, man nearly killed Bryce Mitchell. Like I've never seen,
the seizure.
The seizure, man. The guy was shaking. You know what I mean? And I mean that killed off the last of his brain cells. I think. I mean, because Bryce has not been the same since. Do you know what I mean? And then that clip came back around a couple of weeks ago because of certain recent comments that were made, and Josh Emmett came back with like, why is my clip resurfacing again? Like, what have I done? Why is everybody thanking me? But yeah, Josh Emmett, he's power in those arms, and he just looks like he looks scary. You know what I mean? The shaved head, the beard, and all that. But my goodness, man, he's a lethal weapon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got the body of a man who looks like he's been conditioned, like in hell.
Yeah,
like it's all like kind of, you know what I mean? Like What if I saw him in the street in like wearing normal clothes, you probably wouldn't think that much of him. I mean, he still looks a little bit scary, but as soon as he took his top off, you were in a street fight. Jesus Christ, I don't think I could run.
Like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. Do you know what I mean? One of them in the bars. It's one of them. You spilt me drink, you dickhead. And like, come on, then. And then he rips it. Like, now, you know what? I'll buy you a pint back. It was me. It was my fault. My fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's my bank card.
But yeah, I mean, Laron's like, you know, he's ripped the fuck as well. You know, he really takes his training like serious. I mean, he's been in Thailand for the past, I think I'm going to say a month. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm you know, biased, I know, but I do think Laron can get it done. And I think he'll go to a decision with it. Do you know what I mean? I think he's going to be very slick in and out. He's going to have to avoid that right hand like it's the plague. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, very interesting fight. Very interesting. And like you say, could shake up the featherweights even more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the one thing I think most UK MMA fighters have going for them, which are kind of ascending at the moment, is technically they're very, 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 very good.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing with Lerone Murphy, where he will have a technique to kind of stay away from that power, or he'll have the knowledge to kind of understand this is where I need to be in the fight to stop myself from being in the danger zone. And we've seen that a few times in his previous fights. And I think that's the one thing which makes me go like, this guy is good enough to really hang up there.
I mean, you look at the last fight against Barboza. I mean, I was slightly worried about that. Do you know what I mean? Because Barboza is one of my favourite, you know, strikers, you know, from way back in the day, taking fucking heads off and sending them into the crowd and that. But Lerone just, you know, he battered him. Like, there's no two ways about it. Lerone battered him, and he was in and out with the takedowns, and he looked great. Lerone looked absolutely phenomenal with it. And again, that was another main event. So he's getting his 5 rounds experiences in. So he's looking to head to the top. Do you know what I mean? Plus he's undefeated as well.
Yeah, and it's, you know what, it's one of them ones where I think it could happen one day. When him and Nathaniel Wood were kicking off, I think that's two very technical fighters from the UK. I'd love to see that matchup one day.
Do you know what pisses me off? I love both them guys. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, stop beefing. Come on, boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, Nathaniel Wood, you know, massive fight coming up for him in London. You know, Morgan Cherie, is it?
Yeah, and Cherie, ex Cage Warriors champ as well.
Yeah. And great fight. I mean, we spoke about it on the last episode, and I think, you know, we could talk about London until the cows come home. We're very excited for that card.
30 days,
30 days, man. I've still not got fuck all sorted for it, man. I don't know I'm getting there. I don't know, looking at the hotel, like, shit, I need to book that. I'm very last minute with my kind of stuff, but we'll get there. Although, that card's been changed a little bit as well, thanks to Uncle Dana.
Yeah, It's if it wasn't UK fighters and I wasn't from the UK, I'd look at that card and go, I'll miss that one. It's shit.
Hey, don't say I'm promoting this to the Americans. I'm saying, look, no, watch it. Come on now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, when you get announced, Leon Edwards versus JDM, man, I was buzzing. I was just like, you filthy, dirty animal. That is nice. Do you know what I mean?
Like, naughty man. Let me slap that bald head, you sexy
honestly,
bastard.
mate. Honestly, I was just like, oh, you know what you've done with that, you filthy tart. You know what I mean? And then, we get the announcement this week that JDM's getting a title shot against Bilal. Great fight. And we're getting Leon versus Sean Brady, which, still a good fight. But when you're being told that I'm going to take you to a 5-star Michelin restaurant for a steak, and then you get there and you're going into KFC, you're kind of a bit gutted, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? KFC's good, you love it, but you wanted the steak. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a bit of a mad one.
Yeah, and I think that main event was a really good fight night main event, which is why so many people probably rushed to buy tickets.
Yeah.
If you're more of a hardcore UK MMA fan, then seeing the likes of like Nathaniel Woods, Jordan Fitchnick, Chris Leroy Duncan, all of them, that's still good, isn't it? Like, we want to see how they progress, and they're all great fighters. But for a more casual audience, the JDM fight, who was, I don't know, he was top 5. I think, was he 3rd or something?
He's 4th, I think.
Versus Lerone Murphy is like for a casual, an incredible fight, because they're probably, unless one of them's severely suffering on the feet, they're not going to wrestle each other.
No,
they're not going to take each other down. They are going to stand and they're going to hit that pocket hard.
Yeah, and that's what everyone was saying. Even like every American I spoke to, every UFC big MMA fans were saying this is going to be a war, a striking war. Like, these guys are going to go hell for leather, stand and bang, no takedowns, just pure, kickboxing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, everyone was excited for it. I mean, with Brady, I think, like you say, it's again Leon's fighting another wrestler. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure it'd be a good fight, but I would have much preferred to see Leon, standing with someone than defending takedowns for 25 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if we forget about if we forget about Shavkat for a minute, because obviously we all thought he was next. And he probably he will be the next one probably. If Lerone had beaten JDM, then that would have been Lerone's answer to getting back for a title fight.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was what I thought as well.
We've now got a situation where we've made a main event for a pay-per-view with Bilal and JDM, where Bilal's just going to wrestle a bloke for 25 minutes and win a decision.
Yeah.
And we've probably also made a fight night in London, which is probably going to be a guy wrestling Leon Edwards for 15 minutes to a decision.
Yeah. And you're just kind of a bit like, oh, man, do you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, don't get me wrong, like, we're hardcores. Yeah, we'll sit there and we'll still lap it up. Do you know what I mean? And we'll love every second of it, I'm sure. But, it just wasn't what we wanted. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a few like fighters that could have been on the London card that we're hoping for, like Arnold Allen, but he's going through some major surgery at the minute. Thanks for the graphic videos that he put up. That was beautiful. You know what I mean? Watching that while having your brekkie is spot on. But
well, that's your fault for watching it while having your breakfast.
Do you know what I mean? It did say explicit. Well, fuck it, let's go. But but like you say, it's still stacked with like UK talent. You know what I mean? We've got you got Mick Parkin on there. Like I say, we spoke about it before. You got Mick Parkin against Tybora. That's gonna be that's gonna be a real good one, and that's probably if Mick wins that, he's in the top 8. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean London's still good, but yeah,
depending on how long the whole Jon Jones thing takes, do we see Mick Parkin versus Tom Aspinall?
I thought about it, I mean, could you imagine? I reckon them two will do it because we have a little bit of a thing in the UFC now, don't we, where no one wants to fight their mate. Like we had Sterling and Merab, and it's like, and then you have Merab saying about Alexander Topuria, like, oh no, he won't fight him. Fuck it, yeah, get Mick and Tom in there. Do you know what I mean? They don't give You watch, it'll be so good because I've watched them train together and he looks good fighting. You know what I mean? They both seem to read each other very well.
Just the whole dynamic behind that, because they both train at the same gym and they've obviously been training partners for a while. Like, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? If they do that, though, that has to be in Manchester. They have to come back to Manchester for that one. You know what I mean?
I hope not, but yeah.
Come on, Beezy. You know you love Manchester. You know what I mean?
Ever since we pulled into that. What was it called? With
sure. Yeah.
Pissing in a bin. I was like, why am I here?
The standard that.
But the city centre itself was quite nice. Si and I had a good night out then.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Told you, mate.
Just don't go to Wivenshaw.
No. But yeah, man. I mean, speaking of UK fighters as well. Actually, just going back to what we say, so Montreal 315 stole our main event, and Bilal put out a very funny tweet, about stealing Leon's belt and stole his opponent. Like,
it winds me up that that Bilal can be funny, man.
I think I've said something similar to him. I've put it in his tweet. Stop being funny, Bilal. It's not good. You know what I mean? Don't make me laugh.
Yeah. The one thing that I loved was at his 304 at the press conference where he did that thing for the Palestinian kid. That thing really was quite touching.
Yeah.
But don't be funny, man. Be sentimental. Be soft. Don't be funny, because I don't want to get on the bandwagon after the Leon thing, and I might.
He's got better. I tell you what, I'll give him his due. Right, he has got a hell of a lot better at trash talking. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think it's him though? Do you think it's him, or do you think that at some point they get some sort of like PR team to help them?
I think it's probably a bit both, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've seen a few fighters where they've all of a sudden popped up out of nowhere, and they've got a big social media skit thing, and they're making funny videos and stuff, and it's like I think like Merab, for example, all of a sudden came out with these funny videos of dressing up as a doctor and doing the fucking, the list and all that, and it's just mental. So I think there probably is a bit of element of, look, you gotta promote yourself a bit more, and this is how we do it. Do you know what I mean?
It's suspicious to me, because I don't know how you go from I've got hands like Canelo to 10-8 and Leon Edwards on Twitter. Where's that come from? You know what I mean?
Someone's whispered in his ear. Do you know what I mean? I mean, don't be wrong. I joke and I take the piss. Bilal's a nice guy. And like you say, the thing that he did with the Palestinian kids, it was beautiful, man. But
yeah, and his dad, I spoke to for it must have been over an hour, just in the lobby at Manchester at the hotel, and he was just like, it was such a weird dynamic that this guy was just stood in the lobby talking to me and some of the other guys that were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, and just like, if he hadn't have told me,
I
wouldn't have known. Like, he just seemed like a fan almost. It was so
odd.
And then Bilal come in for his weigh-in, and Bilal was like straight over to him saying, like, how you doing? And I was like, shit, he actually is his dad. He's not chatting shit. This guy.
It wasn't bullshitting.
Yeah,
but
it was mental.
Yeah. And fair play to him as well, because he's like, he even said something to me, something about like, I'm sure you're rooting for Leon. I was like, yeah, hometown, home country. And he's like, yeah, good luck. And we shook hands. You try and do that on MMA Twitter and say something about your face. Yeah, I'm rooting for, fuck you. And then all of a sudden you've got all these toxic kids, kids telling you he's washed and all that. And me and Bilal's dad, we shook hands. And even after the fight, Bilal fans in the crowd, we shook hands and we said, great fight. Bilal looked phenomenal. And it was I was just like through gritted teeth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, swallowing that bitter pill.
100%, mate, 100%. But yeah, so Montreal 315, they've got one hell of a card. So fair play. You've got a good main and co-main, because you've got the co-main, Shevchenko versus Manon, which I love it when Shevchenko fights, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel like there's some disrespect towards Shevchenko this time. There's loads of people just writing her off against Faro, and I just don't. I get she lost to Grasso, but
yeah, but
she then starts doing.
She then came back.
I think.
Yeah, she came back and won. Do you know what I mean? Decisively. There was no people say, "Oh, robberies." There was probably a few, but that wasn't no robbery. That was Shevchenko knowing exactly what she needed to do to win there. Do you know what I mean?
And Faro, I get why people say that she's such a threat, because her stand-up, like her kickboxing, is unbelievable. But I don't think if Shevchenko takes her down, which I think she will, I just don't see her being able to cope with it.
No, especially when she gets into that crucifix position.
I love that crucifix.
It's when she gets like elbows going and she's just raining down. It's just you just can't. Honestly, mate. Honestly, it's unreal and it's murderous. You know what I mean? I mean, she's had so many people in that position, and she's finished people in that position. This is getting a slightly more innuendo.
Finish me too. Yeah, and it's weird. It's a weird one for me because we don't see the crucifix too often, but she's such a specialist at it.
Yeah, it's a go-to. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen people say, I mean, I'm not saying Mangang has no chance. It's MMA. Everybody has a chance.
Yeah, but I mean, Rose fluked a head kick against Zhang Weili, didn't she? And at the time we didn't think that, and now time's passed, and it's a bit like, okay, maybe. Yeah. Well, I think now maybe it was possibly a fluke, and but Manon Faro is more than capable of doing a Holly Holm 11 from Stranger Things. You
gotta lift her up. But yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? I mean, great fight, and I must admit, tiny little bit gutted that we've got to wait a little bit longer now for Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili, because I honestly think that is the best female MMA fight you could put on right now. And I don't usually agree with people like going for second belts, but Weili, she's flew through that division. Do you know what I mean? There's not many people left for her.
How would you do it though? How would you do it? Just because I think Weili's tiny.
Yeah,
tiny. I know she's strong. Don't get me wrong, but would you have Valentina? Would Valentina come down? I don't think she would. So you'd have to have Zhang come out.
Zhang has to go up to flyweight. I think it's the only way that it's going to be able to happen. I think Val. I think she knows it's a risk to cut the weight, whereas for Weili, it's not as risky to put the weight on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think Weili goes up to flyweight. Do you know what I mean? And challenges Shevchenko. If Shevchenko beats Manon, that's got to be the next fight to make. Like, I'd sell my kidney for it. Well, better than selling the other thing.
I'll buy it. No. Yeah, I feel like the women's division really needs something juicy, something new. I know that bantamweight should pick up with Kayla Harrison, kind of.
Yeah.
But the flyweight is probably the most interesting one at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I would say strawweight's I don't know. Do they make an atomweight division?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind if they did, but then I think they'd have to go and look for some new fighters for that division, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of female fighters that will cut to atomweight. Do you know what I mean?
But I think there's a lot of fighters that are probably fighting at strawweight, which could be a.
They could probably drop a couple. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's an odd one because they I don't know what it is with the women's division. Maybe I get it because culturally, women aren't MMA fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look back in the day though. There was one time when Dana was asked, "When are we seeing women in the UFC?" And he's like, "Never." And now look, do you know what I mean? He got the Ronda Rousey in, he got Miesha Tate, and it blew up. You know, I think it's thanks to them. I think they're the pioneers of the women's MMA. Is Ronda, Katzagano, Miesha Tate. You know what I mean? They pioneered it. I'll tell you what though, there is one person who I would love to see in the UFC very, very soon. Female fighter, my neck of the woods.
Oh, the woman, British women's MMA best kept secret.
That's the one, man.
That's been finishing everyone with highlights, and Dana still doesn't know who she is.
Like, what's he doing? Dakota Ditcheva, or Ditcheva, however you say the last name, right? It doesn't matter. I just call her Dakota, right? Because she's from Manchester, and she doesn't believe in decisions, right? She goes in there and just absolutely wellies people and puts them out. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's one of the slickest kickboxers I've ever seen, man or woman. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know what's going on, why Dana isn't looking at her and licking his lips, because I know I do. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, it is an odd one, especially with, like, at the moment you've got probably I wouldn't want to, so I wouldn't put Juliana Pena in the category, but you've got Valentina Shevchenko, who's been quite dominant of her division for a very long time. You've got Zhang Weili, who potentially can now be quite dominant for a long time. Amanda Nunes is retired. We've got Kayla Harrison coming up, so that's probably going to be a bit of a stalemate. So we're going to have 3 champions for 3 divisions who probably are going to be where they are for a long time. Shake it up a bit, man.
Yeah, you need some. You need some new you need something new in there. I mean, look what they did with the flyweights. Yeah, you've got Pantoja, who's the champion, and he's beating people left, right, and centre. Should have been fighting Makayev, but So then they bring in Asakura from another division, another organisation, because to shake things up. Do you know what I mean? And inject something new in there. But now we're getting to the point in that division, in the men's flyweights, where it's like, well, who's next? I mean, you've got Kai Kara France, maybe. And then you've got people talking about, should DJ come back? DJ's back, God bless him. I absolutely would love him to, but he's not going to. Do you know what I mean?
He's not as stupid as Henry Cejudo to come and just tarnish his legacy.
No. But for me, obviously, I say you need Muhammad Makayev back. You know, I'm really promoting these Mancunian fighters right now, and I am being shameless with it. I know.
I couldn't tell, mate. I couldn't tell. Parkin, Tom Aspinall, Lerone Murphy, Dakota
Makayev. Bro, we're taking over. The Mancs are finally taking over.
Where's Lewis McGrillen?
It's been a while, you know what I mean?
But no,
you're making a comeback.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, I don't see why they're not looking at her and going, like, we really need her to kind of add a bit. And at the moment, they're signing all the kind of the other fighters from other divisions. I know it's slightly different, the context of it all, but yeah, she's right there, Dana. You can see her. Just sign her. Just send her a contract. I'm sure she'll sign it if the money's good enough, depending on who you kind of place in those fights. You don't need a treasure map, mate. You need a working email address. Just
that's it. That's it. And bring it in. I mean, we even had this weekend we had Austin Vanderford, Mr. Paige Van Zandt joined the UFC just like that. Exactly, and it's like, whoa, when did that happen? Do you know what I mean? It's like I mean, yeah, there's no two ways about it. Dakota, bring her in, give her a top 8, top 5. There's so many juicy fights for her in that division.
Yeah, it's an odd one for me because I feel like you've got two options. I feel like you either put her in like 15 to 10 and you build her up because which let's be honest, right? She's probably going to knock a few of them out. I think anyway.
Yeah.
And you start to build her stock, and people go, "Oh, actually, I see why people were like she needs to be in the UFC." Or I think you throw her in there with a former champ, and possibly
Well,
she
to be
can
honest,
finish them too.
I was thinking two great fights for her would be Jessica Andrade or Rose Namajunas.
That name is
You just remembered that picture, didn't you?
I got
You
PTSD from that, man. Honestly, I've got an autographed card, and it's like buried at the bottom of the drawer just because I can't. Oh God! If anyone wants it, 20p, it's yours.
I'll put the feelers out, mate. But them two, Dakota versus Rose or Dakota versus Andrade, two former champs, and she could make a statement.
I like the Rose fight. To be fair, I like that one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just get her in there. But knowing Dana White, he'll probably try and get Amanda Nunes out of retirement for something stupid, even though she retired 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think if Kayla becomes champ, I think Nunes comes back.
Well, that was my prediction when we did our chat predictions at the start of the year. That's what I said. I said I think if Kayla gets the belt towards the end of this year, Amanda Nunes comes back and fights her, and I think Amanda beats her. And that's an interesting one. But yeah,
I totally agreed with your predictions this year of about who's champ by the end of 25, and we agreed on pretty much everything, if I'm honest. So
I mean, the most out there one was Jack Della Maddalena, and if that one pulls off, then that'd be great. But we're so early in the year.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, Shavkat's like looming. So if JDM manages to beat Bilal, it's like probably by the end of the year it's gonna be Shavkat. But I didn't want to be one of them boring bastards. Everyone I think will face Shavkat. So
everyone's been blowing, smoke up Shavkat's ass, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? But let's mix it up a little bit. But yeah, honestly, man, some good exciting fights coming up. I mean, one of them I'm very excited about, which we finally got confirmed because it's been weighing on my shoulders for about 2 months, is Paddy the Baddy versus Michael Chandler.
That's a fun one.
What a fight. What a naughty fight that is. Do you know what I mean? I've got to give a big shout out to, Steve Simpson on Twitter. Him and Paddy are like, uncle and nephew at this point. They absolutely just talk every day. Do you know what I mean? Swap pictures of kids and everything. And him, and Paddy, chatting, and we was like, we've known for a while, and it's like, what's going on? Why is this still not being announced? Do you know what I mean? And you've got so many people making fake fights up. Oh, Chandler's fighting Arman. Oh, Paddy's going to fight Gamrot. You know what I mean? It's like, he's not. So, but yeah, big shout out to Steve Simpson there, man. But that is such an interesting fight, and it could propel Paddy right up into the top 10 there.
It could, but it shows you the curse of trying to hang on to a Conor McGregor fight, right? You go from fighting Conor McGregor to fighting Paddy Pimblett. That's when you talk about the money involved. It's a little bit, but for Paddy, it's an incredible matchup, and it's such a fun one for the fans as well. I wouldn't like to call it. I really wouldn't. It's another one where I'm gonna have no fingers left because I've bitten through my nails and my fingers.
I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but I genuinely think Paddy can sub him. I do really think that. I think Paddy gets underrated or underestimated every time he steps in the cage, and every time he proves them wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, but he's starting to hit the area of the division where experience and Chandler's been up there for a long time, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And that I think that's what gives me question marks. Like Chandler has got the power, He's got the cardio. I do think. I mean, he got submitted by Poirier, so
so he's not immune.
I do think that Paddy could submit him, but I do get a bit
nervous. Don't get me wrong, mate. There's nerves there. There's nerves. And I know Paddy himself knows it. You know, it's a dangerous fight, but one that if he comes out and proves himself and finishes Chandler, you know, he's moving well up into the right direction. Now that we've got Ilia moving to lightweight, we might see Paddy versus hand sanitizer boy. Do you know what I mean? It might actually happen.
Oh, that would be great. Imagine. That would be so good.
It might happen.
The press conference for that would be brilliant.
The press conference will sell more tickets than the fucking event.
As long as he brings a bottle of hand sanitizer, I'll be happy.
It's it right there. Do you know what I mean? Ready. But yeah, that's a great fight. And in Miami as well. I mean, I was really hoping we'd see Paddy in London. I mean, that's what I think one of the original fights that were being talked about was Paddy versus Moicano.
Yeah.
In London. But fair play.
Yeah, and I think we've been spoilt with Paddy Pimblett in the UK. I just hope he can really build on the US kind of stock and run with it, because I can imagine a bunch of American Yanks with like a blonde wig on going duh, 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 over in the UK. It'd be so good, wouldn't it?
Hey, mate, I think he's got fans over there. I genuinely do. Like say Steve Simpson, he's in Canada, mate, and he's like, you know, the biggest Paddy fan, you know, supporter in the world, and he's Canadian with the Canadian flag. He's got in Montreal. You know what I mean? With the Paddy t-shirts on like that. So I think Paddy's grown on a lot of people. I think, you know, they kind of saw him as the loudmouth scouser and, you know, chatting shit. But I think when he came out and he started talking about men's mental health, started talking about Andy's Man Club and stuff like that, and I think people really started to take note. And yeah, you know, controversial win decisions over Jared Gordon, but then after that, just started finishing people and not leaving it to the judges. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think he's grown into a very fan favourite. You know,
he probably had the most entertaining fight of 304.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah,
and if you can perform like that on a card like that, then it's always going to make like the big people at UFC go, this guy. And I think that's probably why he's got the Chandler fight.
Yeah. I think so.
Because he generated the hype, and then he turned up in the night, and he finished it.
Bobby Green, well, King Green.
Yeah.
And
if he does beat Chandler, like you said, he has got some proper legacy fights lined up for him then.
Yeah, 100%.
If I was him, I'd just dance around the top 8 and just have some fun.
Yeah. See, I mean, he's come out, you know, I think he was on one of his vlogs, like, his road to the title is, you know, fight Chandler. He didn't say Chandler's name at the time, but basically fight Chandler, fight someone in the top 5, fight for the belt. Do you know what I mean? And I think he does want the belt. You know, and it could be, I mean, this is the thing with MMA. Nothing's impossible. Do you know what I mean? But it's either, well, it depends who's got the belt at the time as well, doesn't it? It could be Islam, could be Ilia.
If you asked me now, as someone that's not like a massive Paddy fan, I like him. I think he's super entertaining, and I think his ground game is absolutely phenomenal. But if you ask me now, does he beat Islam or Ilia? I don't think he does. I think there is vulnerability there, which is susceptible to, and the people at the top will expose it. But if he beats Chandler, he's going to have one hell of a time, and what a life to have lived.
Yeah.
Forget the rest of it. You could be the biggest journeyman going. When you've got money in the bank, you've got a great family.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I know personally, like, that gold belt is probably the thing for him.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje Dustin Poirier. I mean, some of these are probably going to retire soon. We think.
Yeah.
Max
Yeah.
Holloway, like Dan Hooker, and any of them. And it gets me giddy.
Yeah, thinking about it, mate.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
If we beat Chandler, that's what we are looking at, and
That's
gets
what
fun.
I'm saying. I mean, if he can get through, Michael Chandler, like I say, it's a killer's row of names of legends of knockout and submission artists, and it's like you're looking up at that and going, "Fucking hell," you know what I mean? And one thing I'll give Paddy, a lot of people call it arrogance and that, but he believes in himself. He really believes, because he's even said, "I wouldn't be doing it if why would you want to fight if you don't believe you can win?" Do you know what I mean? You don't believe you're the best in the world, and I love that. I don't like it when he goes into cockiness, but I don't think he does. It doesn't really get into that cockiness Topuria level. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's going to be interesting next couple of months.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, Paddy. I think he's fantastic, and yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens. It's gonna be fun.
That's not even that far away. That's UFC 314. I think April. Can't remember the exact date. So it's not even. So yeah, I mean that Dana White announcement. I mean we haven't even gone through all of them. Do you know what I mean? There was who else was there? There was Carlos Prates versus Jack Neal. Prates is looking phenomenal. Fighter of the year last year for me. Yeah. Such a dangerous guy. Loves drinking, loves smoking. Do you know what I mean? He's someone that most average MMA fans can relate to. It's like, well, if he can do it, do you know what I mean?
I don't know if he will be able to do it, but
probably not. But
it's good to just go, well, fuck it, you know.
If he can drink and smoke and knock people out, then so can I. There was just so many like great fights announced that it was so hard to keep up, and I don't know if I like it when he does that. The big cluster bomb of announcements. I'd much rather prefer dribs and drabs, to digest it, than have it all blow up, given to us at once.
I don't know. I think it's a marketing thing more than anything, because you've got if you do it all at once, you've got multiple people which have got multiple pools of fans, and they all start talking.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
You get a lot of hype around cards specifically. So if you've got like 2 or 3 of those on a card, people go, "Oh, mate, 314, 315, 315. Jesus Christ!" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, I think the day before the Dana announcement, they put the tickets up for 314, and everyone was kind of saying, like, "You haven't even told us what the fucking main event is, or the co-main. Like, well, you want us to buy tickets? Well, yeah, right. Well, what's going on? Well, you've got Volkan versus Lopez, and you've got Paddy versus Chandler. Yeah, take my money." Do you know what I mean? So, he was very clever with it. You know what I mean? Businessman, Uncle Dana. You can say whatever you want about him, but the guy's a businessman. He knows how to do it.
I'd love to one day just grab him and just give him a good old noogie, like.
But no, I guess a slap on the bald head. You know?
Mate, something about him, like.
Yeah. Tell Jon to hurry up and sign the contract, man. Come on, what you?
Don't define the fucking contract.
But yeah, man. I mean I think a lot of people as well were expecting the Jon versus Tom announcement, and I was one of them. I was kind of, are we going to get it? Yeah, we're going to get it, but I think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one. I think it's coming, but I think Jon's the hold up here. We'll see how it goes. But speaking of Jon, there was one other thing in the news this week. I don't know if you remember, before Jon fought Stipe, we had the new gloves, the gold champion gloves that they brought in. Yeah. And then that event, all of a sudden, they were gone. They were going back to the old gloves. So everyone was kind of a bit like, well, why? I mean, people were talking about these gloves not being that good anyway, and looking a bit too loose and the knockouts had dramatically dropped as soon as these new gloves were introduced. I even talked about why is everyone's face getting cut up like, fucking Freddy Krueger's just give him a little tickle. And then they said they were getting rid of the new gloves for pay-per-views, but they were still going to use them for fight nights. So it's like, okay, fair enough. This week, they've said the new gloves are gone completely. No more new gloves. They're just gone. Old gloves are back in. Yeah.
And then Henry Cejudo almost loses an eye. Nice.
Well, yeah.
Apparently, anyway, but yeah.
But on the same card that we had 7 fucking finishes in a row. I mean, when was the last time that happened? That was just mate. It was brilliant.
That Modi knockout to start a fight was woo.
Let's do this right here. Modi, you absolute fucking legend. That was perfect, mate. I did a picks and predictions video with the MMA homies a couple of days ago. And I said to him, listen, Modestus is opening the card, and I'm telling you now, he's getting a first round standing KO. As soon as that fight finished, right, I had all the boys coming, how the fuck did you call that? I said, because I predict these things, right? But I knew that. I knew Modi was locked in, you know what I mean? And we've been speaking to him throughout the week, and, he knew what he had to do, and he made a fucking statement with that one. Do you know what I mean? Set the tone for the rest of the card. You know what I mean?
Oh, we're back.
Don't worry then.
That was weird. Yeah, I'd never seen Modi look so dialed in. It was very, it was scary, man. And then I also don't remember the last time I seen someone get like sat down like that as well, like properly slumped down.
Yeah. Oh, it was flop. Yeah. You know, it reminded me of when Modi was doing the it was like Modestus Piera, wasn't it?
Modestus Piera Pekauskas.
Yeah. He just locked in, absolutely just fully focused. And
I'll play that one later. Modestus Piera Pekauskas.
We're going to save that one. I'm going to make the edit. I'm going to do the face swap. I'll write that down. That's my next meme that's going to go viral. But yeah, mate, the whole Seattle card was just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then, we had that weird, ending with Cejudo. I tell you what, mate, it's split MMA Twitter and MMA Instagram. You've got half of them saying that he was absolutely milking it. Do you know what I mean? Like he wanted to find a way out, and he took his opportunity to do so. Then you've got the other side saying you don't know what he's talking about. His eyes were fucked. He couldn't see, and he did what he made the right call. I've made the jokes, I've made the memes, but I don't know. I feel like I think he messed himself up. If he'd have said in those 5 minutes, because he took the full 5, fair play to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then he sat at the edge of the fence, chilling like he's on fucking holiday, waving to the crowd and that. And I'm just thinking, if he'd have said in those 5 minutes to Jason Herzog, look, I can't see. Like, my eye is compromised. I just can't go on. It would have been called a no contest. The fact that he said he could go on and they started the 4th round, that's why it went to the judges. And Yudong was basically either, 3-0 up or at least 2-1 up. Do you know what I mean? I think he just kind of messed things up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Cejudo's been around long enough to understand what the rule base is. And I think the fact that he did continue to fight is kudos to him, because he probably did know that he would have got a doctor's stoppage, and it would have been a no contest. Or I don't know. Would it be a TKO? I guess so.
It's weird, right? Especially with the 5-round fights. It's such a weird thing because this was in the 3rd round. Now, if this was in the 2nd round, it would have just been no contest straight up. But because it was in the 3rd going into the 4th, it's like I think if it had said in the 5 minutes that he couldn't see, he can't go on, I think it would have just been called a no contest. Or I don't know if it would have been a TKO win. I think it just because it was a foul either way, an eye poke, and they were knuckles deep. Like there's no two ways about it. Like he got fingered right in them eye sockets.
He
Do you know
picked
what I
some
mean?
brain out. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, and
Nasty.
listen, I'm not like putting eye pokes down. They are horrible, nasty things. I've been eye poked. I've had little fucking tiny things in my eye that feel like there's a breeze block in there. Do you know what I mean? And I know how bad it is. My eyes are fucked. I'm not going to lie. So I feel for him in that. I do. But I think if it had got to the end of the round, at the end of the 5 minutes, and said to her, "Look, I can't go on," it would have been a no contest. Then you make the rematch. Then I think Dana would have been more inclined to go, right, okay, let's run this back maybe. But I think it was okay, I'm fine, I can go on. And then he runs to the corner shouting, "I can't see." I mean, I've never seen a fighter announce to everyone that he can't see. Usually they're trying to hide the fact that they can't see. They want to just keep going. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was a really weird turn of events. And then you've got him talking to Bisping, of all people, about, "Oh man, I got eye pokes," and Bisping's like, "Right." Tell me about it, mate. You can't see. Tell me about it. You know what I mean?
It was a weird end to the main event. But to go back to your original thing, sorry, I took us slightly off course there about the gloves going. I think it's a good thing. I love seeing people knocked out.
Yeah.
Dana really saw fighters being able to grapple and thought, yeah, this is not it.
Yeah.
And was Jon Jones involved? I think if you look at that man's history of making things disappear, USADA, domestic charges, and I guess we can now add the new gloves to it. I think it's probably not a coincidence, no.
There's absolutely no evidence to suggest it, apart from the fact that all of a sudden these gloves got rid of around the time Jon Jones came back and said, "No, I don't like these," and Uncle Dana went, "Okay, they're gone." Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm glad.
Dana's probably seen people get knocked out since they're back. The old gloves are back again and gone. Actually,
yeah, we're keeping these now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, do you know what I feel sorry for? The poor bastards that bought them. Do you know what I mean? Because you could buy the gold ones and the new ones and this, that, and the other, and they probably bought them going, "Yes, I've got the brand new gloves." And 2 months later, Dana's gone, "No, they're shit. Then I'm getting rid." So.
Well, Dana famously says that he sells holy shit moments for a living, and
he does.
With those gloves, the only holy shit moment that I think you'd be able to sell is Israel Adesanya submitting Ankalaev.
Could you imagine? I mean, it was weird when those new gloves came in. It was Poirier. I think it was Poirier versus Islam. That was the event that they came in on, and the events after that, I think we went the whole card with no knockouts, and then the next event, no knockouts. The next event, no, and everyone's kind of going, "What the fuck is going on here?" You know, I think even Dana himself said, "Yeah, I was getting a bit worried." Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, old gloves back. Just bleed guys ripping the shirts off with the fucking paint all over them. It was brilliant. UFC Seattle was just. I think we're looking at potential so far. It's only early, but potential fight night of the year so far, definitely.
Come on, we got London coming up. What are you on about?
Well, that's why I said so far. Do you know what I mean? London's going to absolutely blow it out of the water. London's going to be all submissions, all knockouts, phenomenal fucking night. Do you know what I mean? Molly McCann's going to run around the ring again with the belt. Can't wait. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of planning to do. Like I say, 30 days, and we're going to be down there. The Against the Fence boys are going to be down there. We've been talking about some plans for that week, haven't we?
Yeah, lots of content and ideas. I think there's a lot of things floating about. I think in one of the previous episodes I said about Casual Corners pop up, so that'll be fun. I think there'll be some creators at that. Obviously, we'll be doing a few bits in and around the O2. We will announce those closer to the time. They're gonna be, it's gonna be some fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely! It's gonna be if things go the way that we're planning. It's gonna be brilliant. It's gonna be hilarious. So I think we never do things short, do we, Breezy? We always go the full whole hog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that though. I think it's good. Even if no one's listening at this point, I've enjoyed it.
I know. Yeah, they've got halfway through. But you know what I mean? And they've just got it, they've fell asleep by now. So if you're still awake listening to this, we'll give them a word to say and put in the comments. Right, what word should we give them?
Oh, that's a tough. I don't know. Say Ilia Topuria smells if you're still here. It's just funny when people come to the video and they're looking at the comment section and it's just
yeah.
Ilia Topuria smells.
Don't look like Volkanovski and Max Holloway have been watching. Do you know what I mean? So
I might make a burner account called Volkanovski.
Brilliant. But yeah, there you go, boys and girls. Fucking put that in the comments below. If you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on Castos or anywhere else, just I don't know. Thanks for listening so long, and we'll start wrapping it up here now. Breezy, you got anything you want to sign off on?
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the White Monster King. He also loves a good old one of these bad boys as well. His diet genuinely is white monsters and this. Frankie Gibson, he's mates with Lonnie Kavanagh. He lives with Lonnie Kavanagh. And he's friends with like Will from Casuals Corners and stuff. And he got himself he won his MMA bout last night. So he's a pro MMA fighter fighting out of GB top team.
Yeah, I think I've seen that picture with the white monster fort. Is that the one?
Yeah, he's got the white monster gun. Yeah. That's him.
White Monster's the one right there. You know that's helped us get through so many fight nights, so many pay-per-view nights. Do you know what I mean? That's the bad 100%. Boy Monster. Do you know what I mean?
If you've got Instagram, he's got some great videos on there of like him and like White Monsters and like his diet. Just like he's like packing, ready to go for training, and like in like them little lunch boxes you had as a kid, you like clip the things down. In one of them, he's got a pack of that, and then in the other one, he's got like 3 of them.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he's got some really funny kind of like little cameos and like skits and stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
but yeah, just wanted to give him a shout out because he won last night. It was good to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are still here, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on a podcast platform, something that would be massive for us to help grow this is leave a review and like a rating, because it'd be cool to get some ratings going and seeing what people think. Be as honest as you want. No, give it a 5-star, and if it's shit, tell us it's shit in the comments. I don't want no 1 stars hanging around. And as per usual, if you don't agree with anything we said, jump onto X, give us a follow whilst you're at it, but argue with us till the cows come home, because engagement is engagement, and I need it.
Yeah. I've already lost a few followers over my Cejudo comments, so we'll see what happens by the end of this week. But yes, guys, thanks for listening to us. Thanks for having us, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care.
Bye.
See you in a bit.